Okay, I am back, and I had some food. And let me tell you, as a diabetic, when your blood sugar drops, it drops. And that's why I could not do simple math. But anyway, hopefully I can be able to think for this one, and I won't be huffing glue, so hopefully this will be the case. Anyway, I'm going to put my respirator on. I'm going to start building this Zoidberg puppet that I'm going to try. And this is all proof of concept. I have no idea if this is going to work, but it's an idea that just will not get on my brain until I try to do it. And so I'm going to do it. All right, I'll switch to the other camera. All right. I already hit this with the hairdryer so I could get it open, but and open the window. So you'll be able to hear every plane that goes by. I made 6 of these because I wasn't sure how many I would. I mean, I knew I need 4 for the top, but I might need a couple for the front lip. So I made that as well. And I also cut out the beginnings of the tube, but I have no idea how big it's going to be. I'll put the fan on too in a second. I'm almost to the bottom of this barge, so let's see how long this lasts. Okay. I'll also find out if this was the right size or not, or if my formula was completely wacky. I'll let those dry. Turn on the fan. This is kind of the shape I need, actually, for the front of his lip. I could almost pull a pattern off this thing. Okay. Oh, it's still pretty stinky in here. I should probably put that respirator back on. Okay. So I usually leave them pinned together when I'm gluing. They're all the same shape because it's a little easier to keep control of it. Oh, wait a second, I didn't turn on one of my lights. Yeah, now you can see. All right. I have no idea if that's going to be the right shape, but I think it'll get me there, get me started. Let's see. That's going to be. It might be a little small, but once I make the pattern, if it looks a little small, I can always upgrade it just a little bit, maybe like 105% or something like that. Oh, really? What are you building, Scott? All right. So now let's see how I did with the. Yeah, 5 inches. So 75% was the right call. Okay, so. All right, so I'm gonna measure this. I could try math, but we know how well that goes. Okay, let's see. It is about 14 inches, so I'll make a strip 15, and I can trim it off because it will be at an angle because the back of his head does kind of slope down a little bit. So I made this little piece of foam. I don't think I can make this any bigger. Let's see. Oh, there we go. That's better. 15 inches. Oh, that's cool. I haven't built a small fry, but I've seen that video 100 times. All right, so I know this is going to be too big, but it's a good place to start. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this all the way around the top, attach it, and then I'm going to cut it down from there. And I work pretty messy right now. This is the way I always do it. I kind of build the way I draw, in that it starts with a lot of rough pieces, and then it gets more and more refined as I go, and then I make a final pattern off of that. Who knows if this is going to work? There's already some glue on this side, but I'm afraid it won't stick as well if I don't put a little bit on this. I'm going to leave this open at the back because I know it's not quite the right size, but it's
once I start putting the darts in and everything, I might need a little bit extra space, so I don't want to get too exact just yet. You can use a hair dryer on this. I don't like to use it on the final puppets, but when I'm prototyping, when it doesn't really take that long, when I don't really need this to last very long, I usually just use a hair dryer on it to speed up the process. Okay.
So ideally this will go into two pieces or maybe three when I put it all together, except for maybe the lips. But okay, I'm gonna stick this on. Oh, that was actually almost right. Okay, so now I guess I'll just close up the back here. Now I've made Bender. Done. Okay,
I have to tip the can every time because I've only a little bit in the bottom, and I can't get the brush quite down there anymore. Still a little wet. Okay. Like I said,
I'm almost done gluing, so I can get that window shut pretty quick. All right, so here's what we got right now. Basically Bender. Okay, so one of the things I might need to do, I have an idea for eyes. I don't know if this will work. I'm not even sure I have two of them, but let's see. So anyway, I had this idea a while back when the first one of these broke on, it finally died on me. I think I have another one in another box. a couple of ideas for eyes. I do have another one of these, but let me show you what I was trying to find. So I've been noticing these LED light bulbs. They last about 8 years, and then when they die all at once. But this top part's plastic, and so a while back when one of these died, I cut it off, and I thought, oh, that would make a decent eye. And if I have to, I'll sacrifice one of these ones that's not quite dead yet. But it's more or less the right shape, the right size, and I could sand this thing. And I like the way it bulges out like that. The other option is I have one of these clear Christmas ornaments, which is also about the same size. It's a little bit smaller, but that might work. That might work just as well. But regardless, I'm just going to trace the eyes on right now and not actually put anything in place. But whenever I find something weird that might work for an eye, I usually will save it or whatever. If I see something with an interesting shape, I'll usually save it. But let me look at my drawing here. Again, this is all just kind of something that's been put in my brain, wondering if it would work. It might not. All right, so there's all right. So now, that'll make sense what I'm trying to do here. I think it's time to figure out the mouth palette, or at least the beginnings of the mouth palette. Yeah, I understand about waiting about the contact cement, but there really isn't anything better. It works really well. Just make sure you're ventilated and have a fan going and everything else. And wear a respirator. Okay, so let me think about what the next. Oh, I want to make the mouth plate. I get a piece of cardboard, and I think this is going to be just a circle, or pretty close to a circle. So I'm going to just trace this guy on here. Okay, so one of the things I want to do is I do think it needs a little bit of a push out on one side, on the top. I think the bottom is going to be just a little bit smaller. I mean, all a guess. I think that's what it's going to look like. So let's see. The nice thing about cardboard is it's super cheap. And it's a great way to at least mock up don't use it for the final, but it's a great way to mock up the mouth palette as you're trying to figure it out. Okay, so there is one other thing. I think I want to make sure that my hand can wrap around the top, like so. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the top of this. Let me see. See, this might be where I get into trouble. This might be where this doesn't work. Yeah, I used to just leave a window open, and I started getting headaches, so I decided I would use the respirator more often, or just go outside. I think that's not quite. I wonder if it doesn't need a kick out at all at the front. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it this way. This may not be it at all. Okay, let's see. Let's start to figure out where this mouth is going to go. Again, it's very rough. Oh, so one thing. Okay, I've already made a mistake, so I can fix it. So one thing I'm going to need to do is I'll glue it on the sides here. So it'll just be glued on the sides at this point. And then I'll cut away all this to make the upper lip that's going to come down. Okay. Believe it or not, I think I know what I'm doing here. Okay, so first things first, I got to figure out. I kind of only need one of these. All right, back to the respirator here.
I know the head's too long at this point. So now when I put my hand in there, I should be able to do something like that. So, do something like that. But let's see. So I only want to glue this. I want to leave this open at that point. So that still might be too much.
Yeah. We got to do something about this lower chin now. Okay, so this is where we're at. The fingers will come out through there into like a little glove area. And that part looks terrible, but we'll figure that out right now. I think what it needs actually. Let's see. I think that. I'm trying to figure this out. Oh, hello, Chase. Let's see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I want to try and figure out that chin. And I think there's going to be more material that needs to be added to the back of his head. This may be a quickly abandoned project because I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm just making this because the idea was kind of in my brain to do it, and I don't really have a commission to. I have a couple of commissions to do, but I know I can't get them done just yet. But I wanted to do something I could do fast, just prototyping, and then finish later. I mean, who knows? But eventually, I'll probably put it up on eBay, see if somebody wants to buy it. But yeah, Or if that fails, I may just give it to Billy West. I don't know. Those of you that used to follow me back when I did San Diego Comic Con, I used to share a booth with Billy because he was hawking an album he was doing, and so I do kind of know him. I could probably get it to him if I needed to, but I'd rather sell it on eBay.
I probably second.
Yeah, I probably would try to get about 1,200 for it. You know, maybe that's where it would start. Unless it turned out really good, then, you know, maybe get a bidding war about it. I certainly wouldn't make a lot of these. I'd probably just try and make this one. That's still not looking great. I almost think I'm just cutting out shapes now. I kind of think it doesn't need a triple mouth. A triple bend mouth here. A three-part mouth. I wonder if I made more like a... that looks better. Okay. So what I did is I bent... This is all done on the corrugation here because I don't really know how it's going to work. And I basically just bent it along the corrugation here. So it probably needs a hard mouth palette on the top and then kind of a rubber one at the bottom. So I'm going to actually glue this back up here, give him more of his Simpsons head look. Might as well just leave this on. Really? Oh, that's interesting. You know, he did a couple of books. You might be able to find those. Crazy. That's funny that I didn't realize that. Southwest is still around. I wonder if he has an archive somewhere. I know he was doing stuff with Scott Kurtz for a while. And he did that monster one, ugly something. I can't remember what that show was, what that comic was called.
I'm going to add some ledges to the back of this to kind of give him the curve to the back of his head. Or maybe just cut it away. I haven't decided yet.
Yeah, I can't remember what his second comic was called. It was something ugly or ugly something. Okay. So yeah, it needs. So that's. So that's starting to get there. It needs to be pushed in on the back here, and pushed out on the here. So I think what I'm going to do is going to taper this in here, like so, and then I'm going to add a wedge, probably about like this, back here to push that out. So let's see what that does. Again, I'm working real sloppy here. So I need to taper that up a little bit more. And that'll push out about like so. So I'll probably use that guy. Okay. Ugly Hill. That's what it was. You're right. Is Ugly Hill still around?
There's a good chunk of Melonful that's not online either. I need to fix that.
See, when I rebooted the strip, I took all the archives down and then started over from scratch. But then I brought them back because I had an idea for how to bring them back in the continuity, and then ended up kind of just stopping out of nowhere. So I really should get back to that and at least finish up that last storyline. And these scissors are Teflon, so I can actually cut through the glue and they won't stick to them, which is nice. Okay, the next thing I need to do is I need to put the brow on him. So I think the way to do that I think it's just going to be a couple of these. Something like that. Let's see. After you do this a while, you start to see the shapes. The last Melonpool comic was Ralph was dying because Ralphie he was having cellular degeneration because of being cloned so many times, and he ended up like I think his eyeball fell off and all kinds of other things. But he ended up using the time machine to go back in time and keep Ralphie from being created. And when he came back, that was basically where I ended it. He was all put back together, and then the next strip was going to be this whole storyline about recreating Jalea and all this other stuff. And then I was doing another project, and it just I had to make a decision over one, and Melonpool wasn't bringing any money, so I just kind of stopped. Always intending to come back to it, but never did, and still haven't. So there you go. But I do have an idea. I have a really good idea that I want to do at some point. I'm just gonna. That might be a bit much on here, but let's see. I can trim them back. Let me see if I can get a glove. Well, all I got is my one work glove, so let's see. See what this does. So, tell you what, it doesn't fit with my hand with a glove in there, so it's just going to have to be the fingers, which I'm not about to do. There's not enough room for my lower thumb in here, but let's see. If I got my hand out through there, that works. So what do I need to do to make this work? I think the only thing I can do is maybe make this a separate piece. Let's see about that. Okay, so now that almost works. It really is that believe it or not, my thumb is super short and there's not enough room in here for my thumb. So let's see, how can I fix that? And that part works pretty well. Oh yeah, he comes back. I ended up using him, I think about a year later, maybe 2 years later. So I think it's in book 4 or book 5. I know book 4 has a great storyline in it. I'm not going to spoil it, but well, I got to figure out what to do about this lower jaw. But I mean, I'm just going to cut away the stuff that's not working. So I think that works. I think that part works pretty well. And I think once that has fabric over it, let me see. One of those, these. Okay, so what I'm doing is I want to see if I can make a little finger here that Did you end up getting the ultimate melon pools, or did you get the ones that just had the comics in it, the old school melon pool? So, I wonder if I made 4 of these. Yeah, might as well. It seemed to work. Ultimate, yeah, I like the ultimates too. I got a little criticism not criticism, but what I saw as criticism for giving away too many of the gags in the commentary. But I don't know. I love the Calvin and Hobbes 10-year anniversary book, and when I did the first Melonful book, I thought, well, this might be the only time I'll ever be able to publish these things, so I better make it the ultimate book in the first, the first time I publish. And then it became kind of a thing where a lot of people were doing it. trying to think some of the other ones that did it. I know a lot of the early Keen Spot comics did it. It's Walkie did it. Trying to think which other ones did, but there were like 8 or 10 of us that were doing it at a certain point where we were all doing running commentaries on our strips, and that was kind of before blogs happened. I mean, I was doing this back in '96, so the commentary was kind of a, I was doing it in book form and not on the internet, whereas that was my value add to get people to buy the free comic that I had online, to let people know exactly what I was trying to do. Ooh. How did you even discover Melon Pool? I haven't heard anything from that website for a good 5 years, probably. Okay, no problem. I'll probably be off. I need to go to the recycling center. I'm almost done here anyway. I don't really know how I'm going to fix that lower lip. Okay, so, but I did come up with this. I'm going to put these all on my fingers and then feed that through the slot. Ooh, that's not going to work. Okay. I'm going to feed my hand through it, put these on my fingers. So you can kind of see now where I'm going with this. I almost could glue one edge of this to the foam here. It almost looks like a Pac-Man ghost. Maybe it's yeah, maybe that's how I do it. I make like a almost, so what I might need to do is make a big V here, or a big semicircle here that connects it down to this, and then cut away a little bit of this in the back, and then I think that might do it. But starting to get there. I'm going to glue those on there, though, I think. Then I'll be just about done with the prototyping, at least the first prototype of this thing. And I may just make this part fabric. In fact, that was the original idea, was to just make this fabric, but I don't want them to look too much like fingers. Let me make sure I have the correct version glued to it. I don't know why this one isn't sticking. I almost think that I don't need a mouth palette on the top. Let's try that. Okay, there's no mouth palette in here at all now. And that gets more of the look. Let's see. And then what do I need to do for the lower? I feel like it needs to be maybe there's not a hard one in there at all. Okay. So here's kind of where I'm at right now. So there's no mouth palette in here. And I'm thinking that if I just glue some foam in here that can kind of flap like Beaker's mouth, and then just run a lip that goes down to about here, and then curl this up the top, I think, or at the bottom. I think that might work for it. So I need a couple of pieces. Like that. I think. So that would go around. So. Here's a piece I cut off. I'm always doing that, cutting something off and then gluing it back on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, you know what though? I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is actually starting to look pretty good. Kind of. I think I have some more foam around here. I'll just grab some more, but I kind of think I need this sort of shape at the bottom. And then there's another piece inside there and a seam that runs down. I think that's what I'm gonna have to build for a lower jaw, and then kind of make a opening at the bottom here again. And you start to learn this stuff as you go. In fact, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to make the full shape yet. I'm going to do it as if I didn't have an idea how I was going to do it. I bet you we come up with a shape that's pretty close to that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a little, this is the lower lip, and it's just going to be that, and then I'm going to, that, and I know that it's going to go in here like so, and I'm going to trace on here these lines so I can match it up. Okay, so I'm going to cut that off. Trying to keep it as symmetrical as I can. It's a little wide, so I'll cut a little bit more off. Starting to get there.
I might have to put a couple of wedges in there to make it fit just right. And then the hole will be covered by whatever the mouth plate material would be, but it'll just be flexible fabric.
Cut away this stuff. Okay, I think I'm getting there. And so you can open his mouth. I need to figure out what to do. Maybe like if I expand that out a little bit, I can get his mouth open a little bit bigger. But grab one of those eyes. What do I do with it? So just bear in mind that there's only one eye here, but that looks pretty good to me. Well, I guess that's about as far as I'm going to get with this today, but or maybe tonight I'll cut it apart and make a pattern out of it, and find another one of these guys I can set in there. Unless I just end up using a half dome. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, thanks for joining me on this little group. I don't do a Zoidberg. I'm not even going to attempt it just yet. But I think it'd be kind of a fun little puppet. And I'm happy that this kind of works, having thought about it for a while. Alrighty, I'll see you next time. I guess I'm halfway to a Homer Simpson or a Krusty the Clown too, if I wanted to. All right, see you later.